picture of the helicopter, a type of helicopter that went down, an MH-53E, a huge Navy aircraft. It's about 99 feet long. We understand that it had 5 people on board, and it went down about 55 minutes ago in the area of Cape Henry, about 18 miles east of Cape Henry?
That's correct, 18 nautical miles east of Cape Henry. We're told the wind speed about 10 knots, and we've learned that from Petty Officer Brandon Hill, who we just spoke with moments ago. He said there is an 87-foot patrol boat, the Shearwater, which was about 2 miles away from the crash. He said there's a crew of about 10 to 12 people on the Shearwater, and the good news here is because they were only about 2 miles away from this crash, you can expect a very fast arrival time, which is very, very important because, of course, as meteorologist Jeff Edmondson and Jeremy Wheeler just said, those waters are very cold in that area, and the Coast Guard has said, as we spoke with them live over the air just moments ago, they are very concerned about hypothermia, so the faster they can get there, the better.
We have military reporter Art Kohn on the phone right now with new information. Art?
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, Don. I have just got off the phone with Commander Mike Kafka with U.S. Fleet Forces Command, and he has informed me that of the 5 crewmen that were on board that helicopter, 2 have been rescued already and are en route to a hospital. 2 more are in a raft. I don't know if that's Navy or Coast Guard raft, but they have been pulled out of the water. And 1 crewman remains unaccounted for. Now, as for the conditions of the other 4 crewmen, I don't have anything further on that. But we do know that 4 out of the 5 now are accounted for.
4 out of the 5 crew on board this MH-53E helicopter have been accounted for, 2 in a raft, and 1 still not accounted for right now, Art?
That is correct, and 2 others are being evacuated to a hospital right now for treatment.
Art, you've been doing this for a long time. You are our military reporter here at WAVY, so no doubt you're a bit of an expert here on the military. You've traveled with the Coast Guard, you've traveled with the Navy. Explain how they come together in situations like this, what they do to try and make sure that their crew members are safe, how they react.
Well, you know, both the Navy and the Coast Guard are very trained at sea rescues and life-saving situations, but of course, they work very closely together on something like this. And as you mentioned, the Coast Guard had an asset nearby. That the cutter Shearwater was within the vicinity of only 2 miles when this incident happened. And I'm told that that the helicopter, and one other thing, the Navy is saying that this was a emergency water landing. They are stopped short of calling it a crash. Of course, emergency water landing, crash, it's a gray area there, but the Navy is saying that they made an emergency water landing. So the Coast Guard, being the nearest to the scene, would have naturally been the first to respond to that, and they're quite fortunate about that. One other thing I want to point out about when we talk about water temperatures and whatnot, pilots that are working over the water for the Navy, I know for a fact that the jet pilots that fly on and off the carriers do wear suits underneath their fly suits. They wear a thin, dry suit that helps them sustain those cold temperatures a little longer than somebody who wasn't dressed for that. Now, exactly what the crewmen on that helicopter were wearing, I can't say for sure, but there's a good possibility that under their flight suits that they did have some kind of protection on. I can't say that for sure. Now, as for this aircraft, the MH-53E Sea Dragon, it is a huge, huge helicopter. It is a monster. I have flown in them on a number of occasions. My most recent flight in one was when we flew out to watch the flight demonstrations of the X-47B, the new unmanned aircraft that the Navy has been testing and developing. We flew on about a 35 to 45-minute flight out to the carrier and that. Prior to that, I've also flown in there when photographer Jeff Myers and I were down covering the disaster relief efforts in Haiti in 2010. We flew off of the amphibious ship, the USS Baton. We flew off of there in the MH-53E Sea Dragons with Marines that were going ashore to help deliver water and other humanitarian supplies. this MH-53 is a workhorse. It has two primary missions, okay? It does not carry weapons, but it has two primary missions. The first is an anti-mine countermeasures mission in which those helicopters, some of you may have even seen the training of this going on as you cross the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. They tow these sleds in the water. The helicopter is flying and tows the sleds behind it that are in the water to help find mines. So that's one mission. The other mission that the MH-53 has is the Navy Vertical Onboard Delivery mission, and onboard delivery could consist of any number of things. It could consist of supplies to personnel. There's a lot of room inside the fuselage of that MH-53E, relatively speaking, for a helicopter. So it's a very, very large helicopter.
Hey, Art, stand
yeah.
by for just a second as we reset for folks who are just tuning in. We have